Today's topic is going to be about why being a nice guy is holding you back. Welcome back to the Anchor Show, guys. My name is Andrew. If you're new to this channel, I am a mental health therapist and a life coach, and that's why I do what I do here. On this channel, I talk about just issues that affect men and impact our lives on a daily basis, from relationships to parenting to emotional regulations, and all that good stuff. So if you're new, I'm glad that you found me. Please do me a favor and like this video. But before you do that, subscribe to the channel. I am looking to grow this channel, and that is something that I would greatly appreciate. For those of you who have been following me, whether you're a subscriber or you just happen to be watching multiple of my videos, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. I've made a couple of videos before that talk about just what it means to be a man and masculinity and things of that nature. So in this video, I'm going to be addressing why being a nice guy can hold you back, right? I'm going to be looking at things like how people pleasing can lead to resentment and stress for the people pleaser, how assertiveness and boundaries create respect, and also how balancing kindness with self-respect can be the difference maker in your life, right? So let's talk about people pleasing. It's a lot of so-called nice guys out there, right? There are different versions of nice, right? You have people who are just genuinely kind people, just very loving. I'm talking about men, right? Men that are genuinely kind, loving, respectful, willing to just help people. That's just their character, right? And then you have those that are people pleasers, basically ass kissers, right? They will do whatever to be liked or to avoid rejection. So why is that holding you back though? Well, first of all, before we even look into why that can hold you back, and why it can lead to resentment and stress, let's take a brief look at why people please, right? There's many reasons behind that. Some people just like to kiss ass to get favors or to be liked. But I feel like it runs deeper than that, right? Some people tend to people please and ass kiss, so to speak, because they are afraid of rejection, right? That's kind of like the primary reason why they're afraid of rejection. But why are they afraid of rejection? A lot of times that has to do with their upbringing, right? Childhood. It could be a situation where during their development as a young child, maybe they were rejected. Maybe they grew up in a single parent home and one of the parents wasn't present in their life and they felt rejected by that person. I do see this a lot in single parent homes where the child, they live with one parent, but they do get to see the other parent. Typically, the child, usually in a lot of cases, they go above and beyond to please the outside parent. For whatever reason, they always feel that need to please that outside parent, right? And so from a deep perspective, you can see that this is the byproduct of something that happened in their life during development. Sometimes, not in all cases, but that's something that is typical, right? So it's almost like you're constantly trying to fill a void. Even as you've grown up and become an adult, you're still trying to fill a void. And so that's why you people please. But why does it causes stress and resentment? Well, first of all, if you're too nice, a lot of times what's going to happen is you're going to create fake relationships, inauthentic relationships with people, whether in the workplace, in a community, and even in a relationship. It's a lot of women that takes advantage of nice dudes, right? Nice dudes. They take advantage of them because they can, right? You present yourself too kind, too sweet, too nice, the yes man, agreeing to everything. It's easy for you to be taken advantage of. And you know that you're being taken advantage of. That's the thing. right? But because of that deep burning desire to please others and to make everybody else happy, you continue to do that. So that does lead to stress and sometimes you resenting others, but because you fail to stand up and do what needs to be done, you continue to be stressed out and feel resented, right? But how do you fix that? If you say, okay, well, I'm just naturally this way. I'm just a nice person. I can't help myself, blah, blah, blah. How do you fix that? You can fix that. And how do you fix that is by being assertive, right? Ain't nothing wrong with being nice. I would say there's something that is wrong with being too nice. You don't want to be too nice. I promise if you're too nice, you will be taken advantage of. That's a fact, right? But you can be nice. You can be sweet. You can be loving, all that. But you have to be assertive, right? Assertiveness and boundaries create respect. When you're assertive, right? And you set boundaries for yourself and you ensure that no one crosses those boundaries. And if they do, you rein them in, right? It creates respect. Now, let's put that into practice. What does that look like? Okay, let's say this is in a relationship, right? And, and I know this might be a little controversial. It is what it is, right? But let's look at a relationship where, say your wife, right? Let's just say that she wants to do something that you don't agree with, right? It doesn't matter what it is. She wants to do something that you don't agree with. But the nice guy or the too nice guy basically, okay, all right, sure, babe, whatever makes you happy, right? And so you just let that slide. Now, being assertive doesn't mean that you're telling her what she can or cannot do. But what that means is you're telling her what your position is on that particular subject. So it goes like this. She present, hey, hun, I want to do this, this and that. And instead of you like, oh, sure, you can go ahead. No, being assertive, you're going to stand up and say, you know what, babe, I don't agree with that. I don't think that you should do this because of this or that because of that. And I don't agree with it. And this is exactly how I feel about it, right? Being assertive is drawing that line and speaking up for yourself, being that advocate for yourself, right? Not allowing yourself to be pushed over, not allowing people to cross the lines. The thing about boundaries, if you don't set them from the beginning, I guarantee they will be crossed. If you have boundaries that you establish for yourself, but you don't establish those boundaries with other people, the lines are going to be crossed. So you have to draw those lines initially, set up those boundaries initially, whether it's in a relationship with your, like an intimate relationship at home, or whether it's at work or wherever. You have to set up those boundaries, right? Because that creates respect. Now, the nice guy who knows how to stand up on his feet and, and put himself in the conversation rather than to put yourself on the back burner and allow other people to walk over you and allow them to get what they want while you're missing out on what really matters to you. You are respected. Now let's talk about what that, and when it comes on to relationship especially, that's an attractive trait for a female, right? Women, let me tell you, women, they like when they get their way. They like that. Women love to get their way. However, women love an assertive stand-up guy, right? They don't like, even though they like to get their way, they don't like a pushover yes man. And if you're going to be a pushover yes man because you're too nice, that's not attractive. You will get cheated on more than likely. You will be taken advantage of, right? Why do you think a lot of females end up staying in very toxic relationships with dudes that are just have these toxic, masculine, toxic traits? It's because even though even though she doesn't like to be told what to do or whatever, those toxic traits is actually a turn on. Ask any female, she'll tell you that's a turn on. Women like men who knows how to stand up and hold their ground and put them in their place when necessary. So from a relationship perspective, if you're going to be too nice and too weak and too much of a pushover, that's not attractive, right? And you're going to get used in your relationship. If you have one, or it's going to be very hard for you to establish a relationship, because the minute the female realizes that you are a pushover, she's either going to milk you for what she can get out of you, or she's just going to walk away. Got to be assertive. All right. And then balancing kindness with self-respect, right? So it's you balance kindness with self-respect by you don't just do for people because they ask you to, right? You respect yourself. Okay, somebody, and this could be anyone, right? Somebody ask for a favor that is just absolutely ridiculous. Not because you're nice and you're kind and you just love helping people. You're going to drop what you're doing. You're going to inconvenience yourself just to go and appease this person. You say, no, I can't do that. And I won't do that, right? So you can balance your kindness with self-respect. Respect yourself, right? You can tell them, I'll do this, but I'm not doing this, you know? I'll take you here. I'll take you halfway, but I'm not going the whole way, right? I'll give you X amount, but I'm not giving you that which you're asking for. Like, respect yourself, right? That will push you away from mediocrity, because when you stuck in a position where you don't speak up for yourself, you're not advocating for yourself, and you're just being that yes man and just doing everything that you can to please others and make others happy and putting yourself last, you will not evolve. You can't evolve, right? If there's a difficult conversation that you need to have in your relationship, but because you're afraid of confrontation, or you're just afraid of, upsetting your wife, girlfriend, or whatever, you instead avoid it. You beat around the bush, right? Or you just completely avoid it and let her do whatever she wants, have her way, right? You have to respect yourself and establish boundaries, healthy boundaries, and be assertive. By doing those things, in addition to you being the genuine, natural, nice guy that you are, you will get the respect that you deserve. You will get that respect that you deserve, right? You can totally be nice, but you have to balance it with self-respect. You have to balance it with boundaries, and you have to balance it with assertiveness. So let's normalize these things, right? If you happen to be labeled as a nice guy, or consider yourself as a nice guy, I'm not saying anything is wrong with you, right? But if you're just Mr. Nice, but you're not assertive and you don't establish boundaries, then you got to work on that. You got to fix that, right? And if you can do that, if you can start implementing some boundaries in your life and start being assertive and stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself, you are going to start seeing some positive change in your life, right? And don't mind the people that start falling off. That's okay. Those people needed to go anyways, right? Because they didn't mean you any good in the first place. They weren't there for you. They were there for what you can do for them. So let's start normalizing being assertive, having some self-respect, and establishing and implementing boundaries in our lives, whether you're Mr. Nice or you're not Mr. Nice. Let's start doing that. All right. So that is it today, guys. I hope that you did get some value from this video. Once again, if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much. Make sure you go ahead and like this video, and stay tuned for the next one, right? So until the next video, guys, let's continue to grow, evolve, and transform into the best version of ourselves. Peace.